Hi there, students. A lingua franca. Okay, a lingua franca is a common language used by people to communicate, particularly when that language is not their first language. So you have a group of people of different nationalities, and normally the lingua franca is English. Yeah, although English is probably not their native language. I remember in the past giving a lot of classes in a company called L'Air Liquide, which is a French company. But that was because they were using English as the lingua franca of the company. If you look, most international business is done in English, despite the fact that these are Germans dealing with Italians or Chinese dealing with Malaysians. The lingua franca, the basic language, is English. So it's a common tongue, a commercial tongue, among people who speak various different languages. And this is something that they can all understand. If you think about pilots of aeroplanes, they come from all over the world, but English is the lingua franca in the control tower. Yeah, English is the language they use because, like that, it's a common language they can all understand. Okay, the origin of this is quite interesting. Originally, a lingua franca, and it still is, I suppose, was a language that was spoken in many Mediterranean ports. Okay, because around the Mediterranean there are loads and loads of different countries, and it's a mixture of Italian, French, Spanish, Greek, and Arabic. Yeah, and that was the lingua franca, or the Frankish language, and that's the origin of the phrase. Okay, you can probably also use lingua franca metaphorically to say some sort of common theme or common thing. So, films can be a lingua franca for different countries to show the atmosphere or the feeling of their country. Okay, so a lingua franca, a common language, a language that bridges the gaps between different communities. Today there are still many lingua francas. It depends where you are. In many countries people speak many different languages, and they use one of the languages as a lingua franca. Often it's English. I think in South Africa during the apartheid period, the government wanted people to use Afrikaans as the lingua franca, but English is clearly the lingua franca in South Africa. It's the language that everyone speaks. Okay, so a lingua franca, a bridge language, a common language, a trade language, an auxiliary language, a vernacular language, a link language. It's one that links cultures or makes communication possible for people who don't speak each other's languages, but they do have a language in common, and that is a lingua franca. Okay, how formal is this? I would probably give it a 6 or even a 6.5 in formality. You might find that it's not totally understood in an informal conversation down the pub, but you could just say as a common language or something like that. A good word for essays and things like that is, I think, maybe a little bit technical. But, well, the reason I'm here is because English has become a lingua franca around the world. I don't know, if you play with the languages of word, you can have British English or American English or Australian English, and then there's one that's international English. This international English is the lingua franca of the world nowadays, definitely of business and things like that. So there you go, a lingua franca. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Lingua franca.